This section covers the Sink API for the SeaTunnel Connector V2 version. With regard to the Sink API, its core class, the first one is this SeaTunnel Sink. Similarly, it is also the base class for the Sink plugin. Sink all connectors is based on this interface. Then I need to mention that the Sink side, one of its important features is that it supports the ability of distributed transaction processing. Sink Writer, this is finished actually an interface for data writing. Here, we can realize whether the first stage of submission can be submitted then. Sink committer or sink aggregated committer, in fact, they can be used as commit and rollback in the second stage and then go and deal with this sinkWriter.is to pre-process a pre-submitted data. Then we go on to look at the picture on the right. Overall processing flow. It is Sink Writer that will continue to write this data from external data sources first. Then when the engine is doing checkpoint, then a commit in the first stage will be triggered. Then that's when Sink Writer needs to make that pre-commit. This is the first phase of transaction commit. At the same time, after this transaction commits, this permit info is also returned. This information is sent to the engine. Then the engine will determine whether it is all upstream Sink Writers. First phase has been successfully implemented. So if this engine executes successfully, it then combines the committer info of all the subtasks of this Sink Writer upstream, and then go through the commit method of the committer, make this transaction commit for the second time. That is, to do the actual data submission, then this will operate the database for commit. Then this part is equivalent to a submission of this second stage. And then for Kafka connector, then its implementation means that it may be in when the first phase of the prepare commit is committed through the center of Kafka producer to call prepare commit. And then do this pre-submission and then in. When the second phase is submitted, first, execute whether the producer.commit transaction is submitted or not, and then do that producer.flush. The data cached in the broker-side system will be forced flush to this disk. Is that for Kafka? What needs to be emphasized is that, as mentioned just now, this sink committer and sink aggregate committer, you can replace the position of commit in the figure. The difference is that, the sink committer can only be a partial commit of a transaction that does this single subtask committer info. It can only be aimed at a subtask upstream of it. It is possible. Partial success, partial failure, that is, you can't do this global transaction. And then this, sink aggregate committer, it is first of all a single parallel. It will go to summarize the committer info of all the subtask upstream. The overall second stage submission can be realized. That is, either both succeed or they all fail. The problem of inconsistent state caused by partial failure in the second stage can be avoided. So at present, the community is give priority to using sink aggregate committer. Make it your first choice.